Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the place and the time you're watching this recording. I'm Bearable King, and I want to officially welcome you to 2025. I hope that 2024 was profitable and it was good for you, regardless of what was happening all around the world. Uh, as I said last year, that I'm done with the weekly reviews that I normally did. And the reason is because most of the period I was repeating what I was saying the previous week because I did top to bottom analysis for you guys. But this period, what I'm going to be doing is I'm only going to be doing the reviews at specific areas, right, to show a follow up on what I spoke about in the previous video. So this is going to be my first video for the year 2025 regarding technical analysis, but I'll be doing other videos that touches on psychology, risk management, a better human being, better trader, stuff like that. Okay, so as it's my normal norm, I'd like to go into the good book, the Bible, to pick out a word for this period. And my Bible verse can be taken from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 12 and 13. And it simply says, then you will call on me, which is God. We human beings will call on God and come and pray to him, and he will answer us. We will seek him and find him when we seek him with all our hearts. Now, the reason why this is my word for the beginning of the year is simply because the world is currently in a state of disarray. There are a lot of things happening. I mean, Russia Ukraine is still ongoing. Um, Israel Gaza is still ongoing. The trade wars are still going on. The internet wars are still going on. Africa is a different ball game entirely, right? So there's so many uncertainties all around the world, and these uncertainties I can liken them to a storm, a tornado, right, that is blowing. So if you're not properly grounded in your creator, if you're not properly rooted in your creator, what will happen is the tornado is going to spin you out of place. And that's when you see a lot of people who are a shadow of what they were before, right? They'll look into the mirror and they can barely recognize themselves, right? This has happened to me before. I'm speaking from experience. So I'm telling you this, be connected to your creator, okay? So that he can order your steps and direct your path according to his will for your life, okay? So I hope this word helps you. Let's move quickly into the chart so that we don't waste too much time, right? So this was the analysis I posted in 2024 at the beginning of the year. If you scroll through the videos on this channel, you'll find this video exactly a year ago, and we did a markout saying that we're expecting the market to tap into the zone and then into the zone before dropping into the zone and then breaking above. Now, the breakdown for this video is available. You can still watch it. But right now, what I want to do is I'm going to do an entirely new um, roadmap for 2025. Right. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to move to a new chart. Now, the reason why I'm changing from this Owando broker to FXCM is simply because of the data available on these platforms, right? Now, if I go to the monthly time frame and I zoom out here, you'd observe that the last year is what? 2003, right? This 2003, 2002, right? But on FXCM, the data started from where? Okay, let me go to monthly so that will be clear enough. The data here started from 1971, right? It started from 1971, which means that on FXCM, I'm getting access to more data than I normally would if I was on Owanda. And there's a reason for this. So a lot of people who do not know about this are saying things like, oh, this is the lowest British pounds has ever been, and blah 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 blah. But that's not the actual truth, because if you see here, you can see that this low happened in 1985, February 1, right? February 1, 1985, which was the equal low we had in 2022 right here. So this was it, September 1, 2022, and it was the same low in 1985. This thing is applicable on a lot of pairs. For example, I also saw the same thing on USD card. A lot of people are looking at USD card and said USD card has created an all-time high. That's not true. There was a period in the 80s when the price was higher than what it currently is on USD card, right? So right now what I'm simply doing is I'm working with FXCM, or I'm using FXCM on TradingView so that I can get access to more data. Okay, so that I can get access to more data. Now this was a previous low, so we can assume that this is a support, and that was the reason why last year, let me go back to the weekly, and that was the reason why last year I was anticipating that the market was going to create a new high, right? This was the last high and the last low on the monthly time frame. So I was anticipating that the market might break and continue pushing up. And the reason is simply because on the monthly time frame, we can call this a support that the market has bounced off, right? Okay, so that being said, we are now going to look at the current pattern in the market. Now you notice that the market created a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, and a lower low. And if you look closely, you will notice that the market reacted at an order block, or as we know it for those that trade supply and demand, this is a what? A demand zone, a supply zone, sorry, a demand zone, oh god, a supply zone, right? So we have this here, which simply means that if this price should break below this level, then we might expect the market to run downwards, meaning that the market may continue the bearish drop, right? This is still a significant high on the monthly time frame, right? And this is still a significant low on the monthly time frame. So till the price breaks up or down from these two areas, right, the market is still within a range on the monthly time frame. So this is 1.4287 and this is 1.0371. So this is the monthly area of interest, right? So all the money that people have been making, your idolos have been making in the last 2 years, no, let's say in the last 4 or 5 years, has been within this range, and that's the power of trading. So personally, because I know this was a previous support zone, I am more inclined to expecting the market breaking out of the zone, right? So we have a supply zone that the market has reacted to. The market needs to break below this low for us to say we have a flip to the downside. However, on the downside as well, we actually do have a what? A demand zone here, right? Or another what's it called, order block here. So the same way we had the supply, we have a demand zone here, meaning that the market could actually tap into this zone and move upwards, meaning that on the monthly view we could see the market do something like this, closing this gap and then doing what? Breaking above this level, right? Now this markup that you're looking at here is what I envisaged last year, and that's why I had this marking here and I had this low here on the weekly time frame. Say I'm expecting the market to do what? Break above this level, right? So since this was my expectation, it still remains valid from last year, right? What we're simply going to do now is we're going to go to a weekly time frame to see what we're expecting. Now I'm going to mark this to remain on this time frame while I mark this, mark this, mark this, and I say current interval and below. Now I'm going to label this, and the reason why I'm labeling it is so that we don't get it mixed up, right? So what I'm simply saying here is the market is still bullish because this was the last low that was created. This is an internal move, right? Low, high. Now, until the market closes below this low, the market can as well still go up here, right? And this is on the monthly time frame. So I've given you a breakdown of the monthly time frame. I believe that this is pretty simple. Where could this go to? Let me put it back. Okay, so this is significant low. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the weekly time frame to show you my expectation or my anticipation, right? So on the monthly time frame, as you can see, the market came into the zone. Sorry, on the weekly time frame, you can see the market gave us this, gave you a pullback before breaking above this high. So this was a structural flip, and this was an order flow flip or an internal flip, right? Now, since that is clear, I was anticipating that the market was going to tap into this weekly um, order block or supply zone, right? Let me call it the weekly order block zone. Now, for me personally, because we had this pullback that closed a gap here, this is the last low on the weekly time frame before this push, right? This was the push that created this flip here. This is a flip, right? I'm already teaching again. Lord help you, Becky. All right, so this is a flip here, right? And this flip was created by this pullback. So for me, this is the valid low on the weekly time frame, right? This is a valid low on the weekly time frame, meaning that if the price should break below this level, we might see it pull up a bit, and then it might break this monthly low that we've marked out here. Now, aside from this weekly OB here, we also have this OB here on the weekly time frame. Now, the reason why I'm simply marking it out is because the market moves from zone to zone. Your job is to identify those zones and then see as the market reacts within those zones, right? So if you notice, all the gaps here has been closed apart from this FVG here. So looking at the market right now, I know that the market can do what? Tap below this point, pull back, and then fall, right? However, since this market has not created a low yet, it is still possible for the market to do what? Come into this high, right? And if this happens, then this becomes the new low, and then the market can now buffer like this, pull up, and then do what? Break into this zone, and then from here you can anticipate a flip for a what? Bullish move out of this zone. So for me personally, on the weekly time frame, this is my preferred outlook, right? uh Let me do this first. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to change this to 2025 and make it bigger, right? So for me in 2025, this is my preferred expectation, right? Let me see. Okay, I can't label it. So this is my preferred expectation. However, this market can also still do something like this. Break below, maybe below this point, right? Tap up into maybe here, and then come down, tap into here, come down, tap into here before moving upwards, right? So one thing I've learned over time is your job is to mark out the market and say, okay, I am expecting this to happen, but what if you're wrong? then you can anticipate something else to happen. So that's something else that you're anticipating is what you're going to mark out. So you know that okay, Ele Obawole, Ele Obawole. It's not gambling because you are following the market. Okay, we are gambling, right? But what I'm simply saying is not this or that, in the sense that you need to have a confirmation. You need to see that the market is going to do what you're expecting it to do before you actually enter the market. But what we're simply doing now is we are anticipating all possible scenarios that the market may do. First is the market turns bullish here and the market runs up here, right? Second is the market breaks below this point, and then we know that the market is going to run into the zone. So it's either A or B would happen. But for us to know whether it's A or B, we need a confirmation, right? We need a confirmation. So for example, on the weekly time frame, if I am looking for a confirmation, I am going to follow the current order flow, which is the market came from here, down here, came up here, came down here, right? So if I'm expecting that the market is going to run up to this place, I need to see the market create a new high, pull back a little bit so that I can take the trade and then ride the market into the zone, right? So this is what would create my expectation for riding the market into this OB zone. However, if by this new week we have a bearish candle that closes below 1.2305 or 1.2311, then my bias will move from being bullish to being bearish, meaning that I may expect the market to pull down, pull up a bit to maybe this weekly OB or this supply zone, and then pouring down, and then I continue riding it till we get here. Now, the only reason why I'm going to buy from here is when I see the market create a flip, right? I have a rule, and my guys know that I have a rule, and that rule is quite simple. If you do not see a flip, do not do what? Do not take the trade. Okay, so I'm going to label this properly. This is actually a weekly flip, right? So this is a weekly flip, right? So I'm giving you a complete breakdown of what I am expecting on the weekly time frame. So we see the flip here. If we do not see this flip, then the market might as well pour down, right? So this is an example of the confirmation I am talking about. This is another example of the confirmation I'm talking about, right? Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to take it a step lower so that you can see the areas of interest as discussed. Okay, so you understand what I'm expecting on the weekly time frame. I'm just going to mark it out and then leave it here on this time frame alone. So I'm anticipating my preferred move is tap here, create a new low, pull up to an area of interest, pour down till we get into this zone, and then from here we can expect a flip and then we ride it out, right? Alternatively, we may see the market do something like this: break down, pull up, break down, pull up, break down, pull up, break down, pull up. Then we can expect the move upwards, right? So these are my two expectations on the weekly time frame. So I'm just going to make sure that they are only available on this time frame, right? This is very, very important. This is my outlook for 2025, right? Now all I'm simply doing is I'm going to the daily time frame to give you context to what I just showed you, right? Now on the daily time frame, if you would observe, you will notice that we have a daily demand zone down here that the market has tapped into. Now, why am I showing you this daily demand zone? I'm simply showing you this daily demand zone because if you remember, sometimes around April last year, I mentioned I was expecting this market to come back into the zone to tap this daily OB, but the market never did. And that's why for me, most of the time I tell people that once you have an area that has not been mitigated, always mark it down and keep it for the future, right? So for example, if I want to mark this area down for the future, all I do is I come here and I click extend right? So anytime I'm looking at the chart, I know that the market is most likely going to come back into that zone, which is what the market did. From April, the market ran up and then did what? Came down into this zone here. Now, aside from coming down into the zone, on the weekly time frame, on the daily time frame, you will notice that we have something like a range here, right? A consolidation here. Now, we all know what the power of 3 means, and most of the time it serves as a form of reversal. Now, since we have this here, if this price breaks above this point, right, as a market structure flip, right, that we're all used to, or a change of character. People use different names as they like, right? If the market breaks above this point, that automatically makes this move a manipulation, and then we can expect the market to tap into this zone and then do what? Break out as distribution, and this would be the confirmation for the bullish move to the north, right? This will be a confirmation for the bullish move to the north. So we would have here what we know as a manipulation, and after the break, what we would be having most likely from say somewhere around here would be what we know as the distribution, right? I've explained this last year. It worked a lot last year. I showed you on the daily. I had some on the monthly and 4-hour time frame. So right now, my main interest to trade is I want to see what the market is going to do here, right? Now let me paint this black because this is my preferred move. Now, what if I am wrong, right? We currently have like an OB here on what? The daily time frame, right? Let me paint this gray. No, let me use purple. This is purple. All right, so it is also possible that the market does this from here, taps. It's also possible that the market moves from here into the zone and then does what? Breaks below this point. So once it breaks below this point and I see a body closure below this point, then this has changed my narrative for me, or confirmed my narrative that the market is going to do what? Move downwards. Okay, so this is all on the all this should happen within the next 1-2 weeks. So within the next 1-2 weeks, you should know whether we're looking for swing buys or swing sells as our first step in 2025. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. The next time I'm going to do a video is maybe after we get a confirmation of what the market is doing here, right? And based on that, then we can now decide on what to do with the market. Okay, so till next week, remain safe. Remember what I said: find your foothold, find your creator, and um, make sure that you make the best of 2025. Till next time, remain safe. Yeah, that reminds me, I did a video on step-by-step process on how you can become successful in trading. So if you've not watched that video, please ensure you go and watch that video right now. Okay, I'm going to put the link somewhere up here, right, so that you can watch it and get on board. Okay, so till next time, remain safe, and I remain Bearable King. Bye bye.